it's that time of the month, end of May, so almost a whole month has gone past since the last garden tour. So yeah, here we go, a lot has changed. So first thing is the fill a gap with whatever's available patch, and some some wildflower annual seeds, which I've just thrown down there, unfortunately mixed up with seeds from the bird food, but yeah, there's all sorts going on here, and I'm fairly chuffed with things. We have got campion, we've got oxeye daisy, we've got a bit of physalis, we've got some foxglove and some achillea, and it all started by just a bare patch. Well, it became bare because it was no dig, cardboard and bits and pieces to suppress the grass over the winter, and yeah, I think it's going to look fairly pretty. And at the top of the garden, I'm going to work our way downwards. So the apple mint is getting to be a fairly decent height now. It's fairly fresh, so it does need a bit of searing. And this year I've actually remembered to put some netting up, which is going to help it certainly later on in the summer. The Sweet William have still not flowered, definitely need some heat, but again they have really put on a bit of a growth spurt, so can't wait for those to start flowering. And yeah, even notice some little bunny tails here, which I must use those or cut them for drying, use them in some buttonholes and so on. Some greater quaking grass, all sorts of bits and pieces coming along here. And then, as usual, this part of the garden is I find it pretty difficult. It's quite a dry patch, but the geums are looking great, and as yet they have not got greenfly, but that can happen. So mainly foxgloves will be in this garden. Excuse the weeds, but it's just been impossible the last couple of weeks. So the greenhouse is looking a little bit emptier now. Just a few things left in there, quite a lot of stuff hardening off. Again, excuse the mess. So I've still got some sunflowers in here which are ready to harden off most definitely, so I need to get those outside. There's some dahlias still hanging on to sprout, don't think that's going to happen, and some zinnias in the corner there, and I've got some other things in the other greenhouse. So oh yeah, I've got some cobia here. I've never grown cobia before, but yeah, very excited to put those around the sweet pea arch, so for the end of the summer. So down to the rest of the garden. Okay, so what is looking different here? So I'm really rather loving my ragged robin, which a little bit spindly this year, but I think that next year it's going to come into its own. So it's going to really bulk up. So I grew these from seed. There's only a couple of white ones, unfortunately. Seems like the pink ones were the most dominant. But the main bit that you guys are going to be interested in are the main bits that I grow the cut flowers in. So the larkspur has finally again taken on a bit of a growth spurt. I think this is misty lavender. Can't quite remember without looking at the label. If I go down this side first. So I was a little bit sneaky in this ranunculus patch, and I put in some more larkspur, which I have just pinched out. It's not a slug there that's done that. I've pinched those out. And I interplanted my ranunculus, and so far it's looking fairly successful. So quite a lot of larkspur, looking fairly healthy in there. The anemones, they need to be dealt with. Although they've got huge stems now, then huge thick stems, they're not very tall. So I don't think I'll be doing anemones again. The next one, we have got a mix of umbellifers. So I've got some autumn sown daucus at the front, which is a bit of heat, and that's going to get going. And I've got some orleia in there as well. I do believe, yeah, I think it's orleia. And some more daucus, and then a patch of cornflower, and this was sown this year, so it's a bit smaller than the other patch, which you will see in a moment. So if I turn on the other side, the clary sage is looking pretty good. So this end has been in quite a long time, whereas the handful on the end have only been in a week or so, something like that. And then I've got some more embellifers, so some Annie from this year, you can't really see very well, some Ami sown this year, some Floristil and some false fennel. And then the calendula are looking a lot happier now. Now that we've had a bit of rain, they were looking a little bit yellow before. Scabious, again at the end, you can see those have been in quite a lot longer than the ones at this end, so I've got 3 different colours in there. And the Gypsophila, which was direct sown, is looking okay. Could do with a bit of transplanting, and I could do with sowing something else directly into the soil on this end. There is space and it's quite a nice tilth on it, so definitely one for direct sowing. Might put some nigella in there. Okay, so the cornflower, they're just itching to pop. We just need some sunshine, so maybe this weekend these will suddenly burst into life, which would be fantastic. So nice and tall, autumn sown. Seem to have a little bit of a gap in the middle. Almost looks like an animal's going through there. Not sure that is the case, but anyway, plenty of cornflower. The honesty is now just waiting to set seed. As you can see, we've got some seeds just coming here, so I'm not using it at the minute. So when all of this has turned into seed, I can use it in the green, and then I'll be cutting it to dry as well. And the autumn sown Ami is looking much better again. I was a bit worried about this last time, but as you can see, put on a pretty big growth spurt, and I've got my other poles here ready to support the next layer of netting. So when they start hitting the roof of the Enviromesh, I'm going to have to take it off, unfortunately, which means it's going to be open to the carrot fly, and I need to put another layer of netting on. The nigella, again, is about to pop. Huge quantity of nigella in there, lots and lots of stems, so that's looking good. I have got some blue cynoglossum, so just a few flowers appearing now. It's a little bit small, I don't know why, but hopefully it will get a little bit taller, and I've just planted some more today as well, so we'll see what happens. I'll come down to sweet peas in a moment. And then the Phacelia. The Phacelia is looking gorgeous at the moment. Bees love it. And there's one in there. There he is, our bumblebee. I have to say, I don't see too many honeybees around at the moment. Don't know if anybody else is noticing the same. So the corn cockle. Still got a way to go before this bit at the end, the lower end flowers, but the ones that have been in a bit longer, the ones that were autumn sown, they are ready to start flowering. And I've just done some interplanting amongst the ranunculus today. So there's still a bit of life in some of these ranunculus, and I've just intersown with some, interplanted with some phlox, annual phlox. And I kind of try to remember to pinch out some of them. I haven't managed to do them all, but anyway. So we've got a load of phlox. This is cherry caramel in this bed. And the other ranunculus bed I've interplanted with cynoglossum, the Chinese forget-me-not, and that's going all the way through this bed as well, interplanting. Okay, we'll have a look down the sweet pea arch. So the sweet peas, once we get a bit of heat, they are going to really take off. So some of the leaves are enormous. Need to pinch out the tendrils, but yeah, that's looking pretty good on the whole down here. So I'm not too worried about them. They seem to be loving it. They've loved the rain and a bit of heat, and they will go bananas. Right, well, let's look down at the next patch. Okay, so the alliums are really popping away now. The purple sensation, the multi-balsam nigra, which is the white one, and then the bulgaricum is about to pop too. And then on the other side, pink campion, which I love, as you know, use that all the time. Lots and lots of greater quaking grass lining the edges now, which I'll be cutting for drying very soon. I have planted some cosmos. I've got xanthos and purity in there, I believe, and some thalaspi, which has self-seeded. I've just moved it to a little patch at this end, and then today managed to plant out the amaranthus. So we've got velvet fountains at the end and just the green viridis at this end, and then we've got the edges lined with some feverfew. Bit of a wild patch here. Underneath there somewhere we have got some raspberry foliage just coming through. Could do with a bit of breathing space. And the Hesperus, ginormous, whites and this gorgeous lilac colour, looking beautiful. Got a nice healthy crop of rhubarb too. Right, let's have a look. Okay, so perennials. We have got Achillea, and I'm keeping a beady eye on my Achillea to see if I can spot any Achillea aphid, which I cannot see yet. I'm just checking kind of random bits, but I know it will come, and that'll completely, wouldn't be very nice to use in bouquets, but also would not be very nice to the plants. So we've got some Verbena Bonariensis just coming here, some sea lavender in the middle, and some Achillea double diamond over there. Looks a bit like the pearl. And then we have some Polemonium, which is another thing that the green flies absolutely love. So no sign at the moment, but again, I'm keeping my eye on that. Catanach. This is looking like a nice... It's really bulking up nicely now. Somebody suggested that might be an option for instead of cornflowers. It's not quite as blue as cornflowers, and I've got some white ones here as well. Veronica is looking great, so it's not going to be long before that's budding up and flowering. Sedum at the back. Some of that's going to get the Chelsea chop very soon. Right, and then on the other side, let's start at the top. We have got some delphiniums, which I grew from seeds. I'm quite proud of these, and even prouder that the slugs and snails haven't managed to munch them away. A few self-seeded foxglove, some Euphorbia oblongata, something called golden lace in here as well, which is like a yellow, looks a bit like a yellow Verbena Bonariensis, but we'll see. Astrantia's looking fab, kind of the more standard one, and a little blob of the pink one as well. Phlox Sherbet Fountain was a bit underwhelming last year, being its first year, but this is coming on and I'm hoping it's going to look quite pretty. A bit of Echinacea there. And then we've got some Gypsophila paniculata. So again, this is looking really strong and healthy. Being the second year, last year it was a little bit weedy. We've got some Achillea the Pearl and a little bit of a bascum at the end. Is looking pretty good. And what have we got here apart from weeds? Okay, so we've got some Gaura. Only looks like one of them. oh no, two of them, 2 out of 3 have survived and one's looking very dead. Bit of self-seeded wallflower and my Lysomachia clothroides, gooseneck leucotrife in other words. Okay, we have got some another nice phlox here, which I will be propagating from. It's a lovely white one, and my thistly things, so the eryngium and the echinops. Some Shasta daisy, bit of a dead patch of euphorbia. Didn't know that euphorbia died, but hey ho. And we've got plenty of things hardening off here. So much status, I don't know what to do with it. These things have just gone out today to harden off, so they'll be out for a few days. All sorts of bits and pieces here hardening off, waiting for space to be planted. Oh, I know I was going to show you something a bit stinky. Hold your nose. We have got some yummy Stinky Nettle Tea. So that's been cooking for about a month now, and just been under there, and it is ready to strain off and dilute 1 part of the nettle tea to 10 parts of water, and then I shall feed the plants with it. Might even do a bit of foliar feeding as well, if I get round to it. So all good stuff. Oh, and the comfrey tea is waiting to be dealt with. So I cut a load of comfrey, just need to take the leaves off, top it up with water and leave it for a while, and that'll be the same sort of thing, and that'll be to be more useful when their plants are in flower, so that's more rich in potassium. And in the potting shed, I've just got a few of the cuttings that the Seed to Vase people propagated, these dahlias. They've taken home what they wanted, and there's a few left. So, and we've also taken some more cuttings, or we just potted. I think we just potted everything up into individual pots, so they're just kind of out of the direct sunshine here. All right, let's take a look in the greenhouse. So still quite a lot in here, and I don't know about anybody else, but things have just taken on a bit of a growth spurt the last couple of weeks. Didn't think they were ever going to grow, and then finally, boom, off they go. So some of these weren't sown until March, which is why they're quite late. Some of that grass, in fact, was April, so you know it's quite a long way behind. But that's fine. The snapdragons, you never ever believe they're actually going to grow, but finally they get going. And I've got quite a lot of at different stages. Some Bells of Ireland down there, some Nicotiana, lots of Nicotiana, some Rudbeckia, more Larkspur, yeah, plenty of things here. And I need to pull out the ranunculus and the anemones in there and plant something in there. Okay, let's have a look at the dahlias. Okay, so I thought I'd finish off down in the orchard again, and as you can see, we don't tend to mow this part of the orchard. We sometimes put some little paths in, so this was covered in primroses earlier on. We do mow around the flower beds, but yeah, don't think it's essential to mow everything to within an inch of its life, and so there's all sorts here. We've got some beautiful grasses right beside me. We've got cow's parsley, pink campion, remains of the narcissi, so it's kind of just fun, somewhere for the insects to have a little play and dance around. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed the end of May tour. Still got a long way to go. It's been a rubbish few weeks, so we are very far behind, but I know I'm not alone, so that makes me feel a lot better. Okay, until next month. Bye-bye.